Just like any red-blooded golf fanatic, I love the prospect of a low spin bombing driver. Today I have two of the best drivers on the market in 2025. We have the Callaway Elyte Triple Diamond driver. I absolutely love the Triple Diamond ideology. I really enjoyed the Paradigm. The Paradigm AI Smoke was fantastic, and I think this Elyte version is, I'd say elite, but I feel like that's too progressive. So we also have this. Now this has massively put the cat amongst the pigeons in my life, in Bobby's life, in my wife's life. It's just fantastic. But is it a little bit too low spin? Is it a little bit too unforgiving? In today's video, we're going to compare these two drivers and see potentially which one's best for me, which one could be best for you, and which one maybe might put a smile on everyone's faces around the world. But not Bobby, because it's going to take a lot more than that for you, Bob, isn't it? Which one should I go with first? We're going to test them out here in the golf course today, guys. I'm going to test them for some numbers to see which one potentially could be best. Both of them are 9 degree. They both have 6.0 shafts in there. And so you can see the GT4, we have a heavyweight and a lightweight, which you can flip around. I have the heavyweight forward because I think if you're going to use this driver, own it. Like, don't be that guy who's like, oh, well, I want to use a GT4, but I'm going to put it in its forgiving setting. No! Heavyweight forward, right. So I've actually used a GT4 for quite some time. I've used it for a couple of weeks, and I must admit, on the Next 100 tour, we get to go and play 18 holes. At the Waterfront edition, which was last week, I hit this really, really badly. But at the Wortley version, was it the no, sorry, I hit it really, really well. The day after, which is coming up this week, it wasn't quite as good, Rob, was it? No. It was, and this is the thing with this kind of driver. If you're a good golfer, fantastic. If you're a consistent golfer, amazing. If you're sometimes maybe good, sometimes, yeah, you get the drift. But the head looks awesome. I absolutely love the shape of it. Very traditional. Lovely Therachrome crown. I think that's how you say it. Looks and feels amazing. And that's a typical kind of drive you can get with this kind of low spin monster. You can see there I've just pulled it a little bit up the left hand side. It never really rose in flight. Let's hit one with a Callaway and see potentially if we can hit a better one on the first tee than this. Okay, Callaway Elyte. As you can see, again, same thing here where we can have those movable weights transferred front and back. Again, heavyweight forward here because own it, I personally think. We look at these two heads, and they actually look more similar than what you might think. You can see the Callaway does have that carbon crown, however, it doesn't look carbon. They've kind of glossed it off a little bit. So very, very nice, both as traditional looking as each other. And I do feel like potentially this might attract the better golfer because of that traditional aspect, because of how they look, and again, how they sound and feel. We have an open fairway here. Can we get this a little bit better than the Titleist? Right, two very similar ones to kick off with there. Both at the left-hand side, both low spin, and both struck out of the toe. This could get really interesting because I actually love these drivers, but those two shots were terrible. And guys, you won't believe this, but both these drivers do feature a lot of adjustments. You can see we have the adjustable hosels here, so they both have a kind of dual adjustment. We have the SureFit CG and we have the OptiFit. I don't know what they're called, but they're both very, very similar. You can change face angle, lie angle, and of course loft. And we actually have movable weights on the bottom here, so you can have a heavyweight and a lightweight, heavyweight and a lightweight. You can flip those over. It just moves that CG from front to back a little bit and potentially makes them that little bit more forgiving. Now for me, I think if you are going to have one of these drivers, own it. I think have that heavyweight forward, try and get that ball launched in the air, try and drag that spin rate down so you can get the longest possible drives out there. Obviously, it might mean you change your technique a little bit. This is why I've kind of stuck with the GT4 a little bit this year and used the Paradigm for the last couple of years, Triple Diamond that is, because I feel like it makes me a better golfer. I actually load better, keep that sternum back and try and hit it a little bit more on the up. So it kind of takes my path away from being like 1,000,000 degrees left to even being that little bit to the right. Which one would you go with, Bob?
Titleist.
Would you? Yeah. Ah,
That looks nice.
Titleist. So we got lucky there with one of the shots. The Titleist is actually, it's on the fairway randomly. I don't know how that's actually happened, but that's on the right fairway. The Callaway is there. But this is honest, true testing, and you can hit shots like this. But to be honest, and one of the factors that I really want to get across in this video is, If I'd have hit those shots with any driver on the market, be it a low spin driver, be it a forgiving driver, whatever, they're going to be pretty similar because all I've done is shut the face down. I know in my golf swing, sometimes I slow down, I shut the face down, it goes low left. That's what's happened there, and no driver's going to help me with that. So potentially, could we find a driver here that helps us with the good shots? Yes, we want the bad shots to be not as bad, but I mean, all you need to do is find a mate like this tree that's knocked it back into the fairway, don't you? Let's carry on. I'm going to hit some good shots now, I promise, and we're going to see which one's best. Should I get that one or that one?
I thought you were going to go behind the tree again.
I'll go. Next pointing case, head covers. I think they're actually both really nice this year. I do like the green on the Elyte head cover. It's a lot of white on there. I do throw them on the floor and it's not the best thing to do. So I'm going to place this one there, and that's okay. The GT one's got a bit of white on it, and I love the red on it because red's my favourite colour, so I just like that. I think that they're always Titleist colours, aren't they? Interesting how Titleist never change from the colours. They never go from that dash of red and then all black and very traditional looking, whereas Callaway, like, it's almost like they're a contest every year, isn't it? You're like with a preschool and they're like, right, who wants to design the colour for the new driver? They actually did that with the tour bags and it was really, really good. So that was a little bit of a joke, but it's actually really poignant because it's quite nice what they do through the communities. I'm going to go Callaway first this time. Bobby, can I give you that, please? And it's interesting because I do like both of these and I like how they look, I like how they feel, and evidently there I like how they sound. A lot of people comment on these reviews and on these comparisons saying it doesn't matter what it sounds or look like, it has to perform really, really well. And I do get that, but also if you're spending £500 on them and this is your hobby, I think it has to look good and sound good. Like, I wouldn't buy a driver even if it performed as well as another one, because there's so many out there that will perform for you if I didn't like the look or the sound of it. And I think if you're doing it for your living and this is your job and you're on tour, get the best thing for you. That's quite obvious because you're then making money from it. But I think, I don't know, I'm just of the method that even if you're going out there to enjoy yourself, you have to like everything about it. Would you agree with that, or do you think it just has to perform, Bob?
Oh no, I have to like the look of it.
You have to like the look of it.
Otherwise, I don't like this green T mark. That's
No,
really
I must admit, the T marks on the face of the Titleist do annoy me.
the white ones I don't mind, but that green one's really annoying.
Well, I don't like how sporadic they are over the face. I don't like that one either from the hole that we've just hit, but that will come off really, really easily. The one thing I do with the Titleist is use like a gloss tee or a plastic tee. I wouldn't use white tees ever. Right, come on. So, Bob, this is it. Straight down the middle. There we go. That's the shot I really, really enjoy with these drivers. That's a lovely, it's a low spin fade actually. It's set off really nice. It's a lovely flight window. It's a lovely trajectory. I know that's going to be around 2000 spin, which is pretty much the window you want. And I actually hit it a little bit out the toe as well. So really happy with everything about that shot. How do we get on now with the Titleist? I do certainly feel like the Titleist is probably the less of the two forgiving because it's a slightly smaller head profile, but it does have this little kind of, can you call that an inertia generator, Bob?
Yeah.
If you were tailor-made, you could. I don't think you can actually, because I think I've just realised I've got glove and glove. They're like buses, aren't they? You know what, I was worried I didn't have one, but now I've got two. Right, the stakes are high now because that was good. Very similar, just a little bit further right, isn't it? That one's going to be in the rough, but it felt like a really solid strike again. And again, did everything I pretty much wanted it to do. Let's get down there, let's see where they are. If this is longer, but slightly in the rough, does it win? We're talking brute force, aren't we? So, two very interesting shots there. The Callaway's kind of fed down off this little hump into the fairway, and the Titleist has fed down the other side of this hump into the rough. It's a little bit further back. We're going to give that the Callaway that time, so that's 1-all in the standings. Yes, I know we got lucky in the first hole with the Titleist, but golf's quite a big element of luck involved, isn't there? So let's have a look and see what the numbers were like when we've tested these clubs, because personally I think I know where this is going already. Let's have a look. So the really interesting thing here is I do almost have a bit of a conclusion. The Titleist head cover is always harder to take off as well, but the numbers are very, very similar. When you hit a bad one, it's a bad one. If you get lucky, you get lucky. If you hit a good one, it's probably a little bit better flight window, a little bit better spin rate, and it probably goes like a tiny bit further, I think, than the standard versions in these drivers, being the GT3 or 2, and of course the Elyte Max or the standard version. Now, let's go Titleist first. And I think if I walked into a shop and saw them, because shelf appeal has a big factor, doesn't it? I think I'd be torn between them both. I do think they're probably the two best looking ones. I think they do look better than the Ping. They look a bit more traditional than the Ping. I think they look way more traditional than the Titleist, the TaylorMade, sorry, as well. So I think both these drivers are going to be strong contenders. Now, I think unfortunately the big realization here for me is I'm probably not good enough to play with these drivers. And the reason why we want to talk numbers towards the latter end of this video is because the numbers are great when you're inside and you're warmed up and you're smashing dimples off a golf ball. Your swing's a little bit different. You never really swing the same inside or even on a driving range that you do out here on the course. And the day I had with the Titleist driver, the other day where I couldn't miss, I felt like Hercules. I felt like I couldn't miss. And then the day after, I felt like Achilles and I felt like I couldn't walk. So I think finding a driver, which is, to be honest, probably the Ping G440 LS Tech, which has everything, is probably a better way to go. But if we're going to talk about these two, this might shock you in a minute, but let's go. Right, nice fade this time, Bob, yeah? Just up the left. That's quite a nice one. That's that low one just up the left side. It's not really faded too much, but that's quite a long way up there. So I'm quite happy with that as a shot, to be honest. And I'm amazed how shot shaping is a little bit more difficult with these. I would think shot shaping would be easier with that weighting being more at the front and then being already a bit of a low spin model. But I do feel like the Callaway is easier to launch. I feel like that slightly bigger head profile does help. And they're both identical. So this is going to be really interesting to see which one's further up. I think the Callaway just took a little bit of a bounce left as well. But I think personally here, it takes a fantastic golfer to be able to use either of these two clubs. And I haven't had my best stuff today, which happens quite a lot. But when I do have my best stuff, I love them. So I'm really as confused as you are. So finishing off with two very similar results. We're both in the left-hand rough. This is the Titleist, which is just here. And the Callaway is a tiny bit further, but it is unfortunately in the thick rough. So which one's better? I personally think probably the Callaway is more manageable for most people. I think the GT4 is, if you're very, very good and you can manage those flight windows, you can square that club face up good, you can hit up on the ball, the GT4 is going to be the best low spin monster for anybody out there. How many people can realistically use the GT4 consistently? It's going to be the top minimal percentage of golfers around the world, but it's fantastic that Titleist have thought to bring that to the masses. Unfortunately, make sure you go for a fit-in because realistically it's not going to be the one for most people. The Callaway, I think, is the best of both worlds. I think the Callaway is the best, probably low spin, kind of forgiving one out there where you can move the weights around, which you can't do on the Ping, which is why I've put these two drivers head to head, because you can move the weights around fantastically. Guys, if you enjoyed that, smash that subscribe button below. Well on the way to 300,000 subscribers, and Bobby, I'd love you to be a part of it. Very rude to point, so I apologise. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.